This is International Forum taking a look at the Moscow attack, security and political implication. With me here in the studio, I have a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Barrister A.B. Thomas. Barrister, welcome to International Forum. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, and I have a lecturer from Uniben. We talk about international relations, international studies. Is well grounded. To me, I call him a prof. To me, because when they start analyzing, be like, man, we are in class. Join me to welcome Don Felix Osareme. Welcome to International Forum.
Thank you for coming. Thank you very much for the program.
So good afternoon. So very close to him. He is a professor in lands and survey, but he's schooled in Russia. So anything about the security architecture, the way they act, the way they respond, it's like, my first respondent. Prof, are you there? Something happened in Moscow. I need to talk about it. He said, saying, I'll be here. Join me to welcome Professor Ralph Ehigato. Prof, welcome to International Forum. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
All right. I want to start with Don Osareme for good reason, because of the historical antecedent to this particular talk. Then later I'll come to Professor Rafi Higato and of course to Barrister A.B. Thomas for the legal aspect of all this, because it's like Russia ought to be celebrating. The great man Putin just won an election, landslide margin. Some are saying that this could be likened to what happened when Russia attacked Chechnya. Take it up from there. Is it the same situation or something different, or this like payback for them? Done.
We should be a bit circumspect in drawing analogies.
Yeah.
The situation in Russia today cannot easily be explained away using the backdrop of what has happened in the past. The Chechnya incidents that you just alluded to, of course, there were also some Islamic elements involved in the bloodletting, as we can say then, but it was not in the same mode. The condition in Chechnya then was more reactionary to Russia as a great power trying to stifle opposition in parts of its own territory. Those who have claimed to be responsible for this recent massacre of civilians who were attending a concert in the outskirts of Moscow are from another Islamic fundamentalist group, the Islamic State of the Levant, the one normally known on the global stage as the ISIS. And for a while, we thought they've actually been contained. Now they've suddenly woken up in Russia, of all places. Second, they've carried out these very heinous acts at a time when Russians were celebrating the victory of their strong man, a man that is tied to the history of Russia as a superpower today, who has been in office for more than 24 years, and it's not looking as if he's ready to step down. He's been doing very well. We cannot take that from him. Even though a lot of us describe him as a benevolent dictator, and he's been very good for his country. We cannot discountenance that. Yet, at the point where he's celebrating a reaffirmation of his powers, forget about the bad press that he has earned for the ongoing conflict in Ukraine in the last 2 years. It has not affected his economy at all. The economy, in fact, Russia's economy by World Bank and other global indices has done better than most Western powers in the last 2 years. So the war has not dented their economic capability at all. Rather, it has even given Russia greater aid. The ruble is doing far better than it was before the Ukraine debacle started. So you look at that kind of person and you must celebrate him. However, at the point where we are talking of massive global ululation for him, suddenly a dark cloud has appeared over the country. Right now, flags are flying at half-mast in Russia. total dead has crossed over 133 in peacetime. The 4 culprits have been apprehended, they've been arraigned in courts. And the Islamic State in Levant has claimed responsibility.
Okay.
So that now makes it different from that of Chechnya, which was an internal resistance effort by some Muslim groups who felt that they were being caged into a corner by the big state.
All right.
That Russia is.
All right. I'll come back to you. Thank you for making it clear. Some of things like, the attack occasioned by Chechnya, that was like, by decades ago. Well, Prof, you reside in Russia some time ago. You schooled in Russia. Of course, you've encountered the effectiveness of a security architecture. From your own analysis, for these 4 men to enter into that particular stadium, so to speak, open fire, explosive, all these things were done with camera view. Does it mean that security architecture in Russia is down?
Well, when I heard of this attack, I was very, very surprised. Because Russia, it's very difficult for this kind of thing to happen. Because barely everybody in Russia is soldier. And there's no house in Russia that you don't find an active military man. So I'm very, very, very surprised. It shows that from my talk, I have some friends that I communicate with, that this war with Ukraine is really affecting their security architecture. Because more attention is being diverted to ensure that they win the Ukrainian war. And it's not helping people at home. So that is my first observation. And it's very, very surprising that this kind of thing could happen in Russia. I know. They don't make noise. They don't talk like America because they don't speak English. But they are very, very efficient type of security. You understand? So I remember what happened to me when I was there. I know how the thing went, and before you know it, the couple were apprehended within 30 minutes.
Within 30 minutes?
Yes. So when you see this country happen in Russia, I don't believe. Yes, well, I think when they were fighting, when they had issue with Georgia, too, around 2010, something that happened in Moscow.
Train station.
Yes. And then it was an attack, it was an revenge because Georgia don't have the capacity to fight Russia. So it was after that attack, I think they now went for settlement. And I have come here to see sometime the crisis around that area of Russia, somewhere has been. This man doesn't believe in. He must believe in former Soviet. He still want us to be together. That this crisis I was seeing, this bomb I was reading about it. These guys, the alleged attacker, they're from Tajikistan, with former Soviet Union. The person that housed them is from Kyrgyzstan, 31-year-old man, young man, that gave them a opportunity to stay. So it is still
within the former USSR Empire.
Yeah. They are accusing Ukraine. I cannot defend Ukraine anyway. But what I'm saying is that this war between Ukraine and Russia is in the causing of it.
Okay.
Look at the American won Russia. This attack may become. They politicize. They say, oh, because Putin is contesting for the sixth election, and America is making propaganda out of it. It has happened. So then, in one of the talk I heard from my people, they are saying that these guys ISIS, they are fighting for that. They confess that the 2017 the Egyptian plane crash, that have 224 Russians. They were behind it. The one that happened in St. Petersburg, which I call the Europe of Russia.
Yes.
they say they claim responsibility. So let us wait for the investigation. As per Russian economy, my brother, this war is affected them, no doubt about it. It's pure doubt because when we were there, robbery was just 30 robbery to $1. It's actually close to 100. So it's affecting their economy. My friends there who are Nigerians, they can't transfer money outside Russia anymore. No, they have blocked all of them. So it is not really they are now a secular country.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And that's a regular country.
Yes.
I'll come back to you, Prof. I'll come back to you because you're saying that when you heard the news, it took you like, by surprise. Like
yes.
Russia, it's not possible because of the encounter you have, the one you're living there, schooling there. All right. Barrister A.B. Thomas, you heard them. These same persons, Pakistani citizens that swore allegiance to ISIS, they're the ones terrorizing Russia, though they were tracked. For what report says that they were moving towards Ukraine, then they were intercepted. And of course, you know the rest of the story, interrogation, questions like, ongoing, means beating, brutality, humiliation. Russians don't want to know. They didn't care if the world would say one or two things. They just show you the way they dealt with them and they want information from them. Now, is this action by this same group of persons sending a strong message to Putin? Because it seems to be the target here. The plane crash, 2017. And of course, right now we are having youths going out to enjoy themselves in a concert, and 4 of these men came out shooting sporadically and using explosives. Take it off from there.
Well, the attack on the concert on the outskirts of Moscow was a big surprise to everybody because the Russia we have always known have always been a security conscious country. I think they are next in terms of security to China and America. And since 9/11, America had to establish the Home Security Ministry department that scrutinizes everybody that comes into America. But talking about Russia, I think Putin should begin to think, have a rethink about this idea of trying to create another Soviet Union. Because Soviet Union collapsed in 1992 or so. Everybody is now enjoying their own independence. Any attempt to now amalgamate these countries that are now fully independent will definitely get some internal resistance from people in those countries. Now these 4 guys from Tajikistan may just be carrying out the instructions of ISIS. But the truth of it is that every country that surrounds Russia, having seen what is going on in Ukraine, they are all scared of either becoming either be in a union with Russia or be friendly with Russia or be an enemy to Russia. They are afraid of all. Now, these Islamic countries would normally not want to confront Russia at governmental level. These are militants, as we call them in Nigeria. These are dissidents from Tajikistan. The weapons they used were not brought from Tajikistan. The weapons were sourced in Russia. So it only means that Putin himself is not very safe. whether he uses what they call double persons or double personality, anywhere he's going to, it means he's not safe. Because if you are safe, you don't even need to have your own double. And if people from other countries can easily penetrate into your country, you look at what happened in Israel that led to this Gaza crisis. It was a concert that Hamas went into because they knew there would be a large number of people there. And these people went to the concert in Russia, also knew there would be a large number of people there. And they struck and killed Assad about an hour before I came here. The death has risen to 137.
39. What 39?
39 now.
139 now. And it will still rise. Because among those who are seriously injured, some will survive, some will die.
All right.
But for Russia to now begin to politicize the incident, the security lapse in their country, is rather unfortunate.
Okay.
To see the people driving towards Ukraine does not mean that Ukraine supported
The
the attack. After all, these people did not come from Ukraine. So it is just mindless, incomprehensible to begin to politicize the attack in a concert for people that came from far east of Russia. And this, if you look at the Chechnya issue you were mentioning, Chechnya is a largely Muslim
Country. Yes.
Pakistan is a largely Muslim country.
Well, Don, you heard him. He said Russia wanted to politicize all these killings until ISIS now stepped up to say that they were the ones responsible. But is this a warning to the world? A warning to developed countries that ISIS is still very much in existence after the claim of decimation of this particular Islamic sect made the rounds a few years ago?
Factually, ISIS has been in the backdrop for a while. Nature does not allow vacuum.
Yeah.
So in the international political system, same applies. There's always an issue that will displace another issue from being the news item for the period. For example, in the last 2 years, it has been the Russian-Ukraine war that was actually holding the front burner until Israel and Gaza started October last year, which has lingered till date. So that of Israel and Gaza is even more pronounced presently than that of Russia and Ukraine, because there could be some kind of, let me call it lethargy. You get tired of hearing one news over and over again. Even that which happened about 2 weeks ago when the Houthi rebels severed undersea cables, it didn't make that much ground. That of Israel is still holding ground. But the recent killing in Russia has displaced boats again now. Now, why is this one more important to us today? Because news item of this nature, the fact that Putin won election again wasn't so loud. People were still hearing more of Ukraine war, Israel and Gaza war, then Putin won election. It didn't make any difference. It's the same Putin. We already know Putin will likely still win any election. Yeah. So that is not a news item. It's not new news. What made the news impressive today is the fact that he just won an election, a re-election, and suddenly there's this bloodletting. Now, why is this one now international news item? First, it calls attention to the issues within Russia. Look, we cannot give 100% security guarantee anywhere in the world, not any country. But we are used to hearing of mass shootings in the United States of America. You hear a child just went to school with a gun, shot his classmates, shot his teacher, shot his neighbors. You hear two neighbors quarreling on the street, they shot each other. You hear in America, a man told a woman to pay for his bus ticket, she refused, he shot her in the head. So it's almost normal in America. That's why in an open society like the Western capitalist societies, we expect such news. And their own society is more liberal, so the aspect where citizens can own firearms is also very easy. License of firearms is open. In fact, gun control is a normal political argument between Democrats and Republicans in the United States of America. In Britain, you don't hear of guns. It is knives they use. Again, open societies allow such. And in Britain, America, most developed societies in Western Europe, because of the high level of open immigration, 80% of such incidents are always traced to immigrants or foreigners who have now become citizens. Now, the condition of Russia is radically different. Russia has been a very secure state. Right from the era of the Cold War, Russia has become more of a police state. The distinction is that Russia polices its citizens, citizens police the state, police foreigners for the state. So it's a very interesting situation, just as Prof has established that in Russia, everybody is trained in the concept of a Spartan who thinks of the state first before the individual second. So when you hear of such incident happening in Russia, you ask how. It can always happen. I think we should not drag the issue to how did it happen. It can happen in any society, so long as there are firearms. Even if there are no guns, people can use knives. It has been happening in UK for a long while. In Germany, in Norway, in Switzerland, it is knives they use mostly. They don't carry firearms. They always find something. In Nigeria, on the other hand, it is this fertilizer they would have used to plant crops in Nigeria that Boko Haram is now converted to IEDs. So it can happen. Now, the question is not what happened. The question is what is the response time? This is where we must praise Russia again. Within hours, the four of them have been apprehended. Now, this is where you talk of data efficiency and security management. We can give it to Russia. Japan is another country that is heavily organized in that regard. The Western world, they don't complain about crime. They complain of response of security and emergency managers to crimes. So that's what they use to judge their society. Not that it will happen. It will always happen. We are human. So in Russia, within a short while, these four persons have been apprehended. Of course, we talk of brutalization of those persons. That's part of Russian culture anyway. The Russian state is a very powerful state. The Russian state does not tolerate infractions.
All right.
And they will put it clear to you, Russia and China, they are equal in this regard. As soon as you go against the state will discipline you effortlessly. They may subject you to the legal process later. But as at that time you are being apprehended, you will collect something on the spot.
All right. You collect something on the spot.
Yes, on the spot. They don't have to wait before you get to the court. You have started seeing the people reacting to you as a person who went against the state. So the court will step in later. But before you get to that court, if you even get there alive.
Brutalization allowed in Russian system if you go against the state. All right, now, Prof, he talked about the response time. If you take a look at the way these guys were apprehended, really, I don't think it was up to 24 hours. They were apprehended. But Russia jumped to the conclusion before interrogation. They were fingering Ukraine that they were ransom after going towards Ukraine and all that. Do you see this turning into massive blow for Ukrainians, despite the fact that these people confessed to the fact that they are working for ISIS? Because Peter said it's Ukraine, you guys are involved in this.
Yeah, when the news broke, I told my wife that they're not going anywhere. She said, why? I said, I know Russia. They can't go out. Once you are buying a SIM card in Russia, they'll ask you to bring your passport. Not photocopy, original passport. They will put your data. They will send it before they send it to you. So if you commit an offense, you are not going anywhere. Bam, they activate the security alert. All the borders, they are watching. Where are you going to pass? If you are going to use train, you will, about the first people who are analyzing what there was picture or video. They will analyze your video. They don't have their target. Once you are coming, when I was attacked, They were going. They were on to Kazakhstan immediately. When I the police, they brought them back from the train station. So that is it. So they have a very good response time. When you see Vladimir Putin accused Ukraine of being responsible, I was also surprised. I was not also surprised because two fighting, both of us were fighting, and something happened in the process. You'll be number one suspect. But I was deeply surprised that Russia did not pick this ISIS attack because they were won. So whether as a result of jubilation of the, I know that Russia, if you ask a Russian man, do you like Putin? He will say I don't like him, but I'll vote for him. The reason is that they have everything going for them. They don't increase transport. I went there last time. I left 2013. I went back 2014. I went back 2019. The transport was increased by only 3 rubles.
Just 3?
Yes. The chicken, full chicken, roasted chicken that we roll here is 100 rubles. 100 rubles is 600 naira Nigeria equivalent as I speak. So it was the same when I was there. After 2013 to 2019, the same. It's the same rice Putin is eating that I eat. No difference. So how will allow such person to live? Because he tried to give their people very, very good thing. Religion, especially in Russia, is accommodation. Call it kivatira. And once a young graduate, when you finish university, you will say, I want to work in, if I'm a bank, I want to work in Zenith Bank. You go and work in Unit Bank. After 3 months, they give you house, they give you loan, they give you house, I give you car, you start paying. Then every month, Friday, you go to club and drink. That's all. There's nothing. So how will you expect somebody like this to say, go live? You see, just sorry, in Nigeria case, if you have a president that want to live for 1 million years, we don't care. But give us
what we want.
Give what we want.
All right. Mary Sabi Thomas, is this a warning to the world that this group is still in existence? After all, Russia, when you mention Russia, it like invokes fear in the hearts of many. Forget about the war that's fighting against Ukraine and all that. Say Russia, be like, Russia. And they had the guts to go do that. Do you think there will be consequence against Dagestan?
Honestly, the massacre in Moscow has shown to the whole world that ISIS is still in existence.
Yes.
They fought, they were defeated, they ran away to come back to fight another day. And the fight they have started now is not with a country like Ghana or Nigeria. They've taken on a very powerful country, Russia. And what is paining me in all of these things is that 2 weeks ago, America warned Russia.
Yes.
Just 2 weeks ago, that ISIS is coming to strike your country. But because of the bellicosity, the animosity over Ukraine, Russia refused
To listen.
to listen to this advice from America that ISIS from Afghanistan, Pakistan, they were all planning to strike in Russia. Now, Russia spent over 20 years occupying Afghanistan. At the end, they ran away. America went there. At the end, their plane was running on the tarmac. People were running after the plane. They ran away. It means that these Islamic militants don't give up. As this has happened now, you will see that the Department of Home Affairs that is in charge of security in America, they will now reactivate all channels of intelligence. Early this morning, they had already rushed into the house of a particular man in California. The Department of Home Affairs, they are in charge of this external type of attacks. So it means that every country should buckle up, because international terrorism is not going to be the type of attack in Iraq or going to attack Syria. They are now going to go after countries that helped to defeat them in the fight for Syria, in the fight for Iraq.
Yes.
They are going to attack such countries. But certainly not countries like Iran. But Iran also has some militants in the border with Pakistan, Islamic militants, though not directly affiliated to ISIS. But ISIS used this opportunity of this concert to inform the whole world
That are still around.
we are still around, very much around.
All right.
So, if you also look at our Boko Haram thing, there are some elements of ISIS influence. Though ISIS may not be taking part directly, there are elements of ISIS influence, like the supply of weapons. So the whole world is now shocked that ISIS, that they thought has been defeated by the Americans in Syria, are now regrouping again from where? From the home of Islamic fundamentalism, that is Afghanistan.
I understand. All right. Now, if you take a look at the situation, do you see Russia, America, and these top countries that fought against ISIS before now coming together to fight ISIS once more, undermine their differences? Because right now it's a global threat. And I just made a statement that we are still here, taking down over 130 persons. Man, that is a massacre. Well, guns, explosives, just 4 men did that.
Well, Samuel Huntington's book, The Clash of Civilizations, projected that the fight in the future is not going to be global powers going against each other. That one has been done before, First World War, Second World War. That the future conflict will be about cultural arguments, civilizations. The Islamic civilization against Western civilization, democracy against totalitarianism. That's why we call it cultural and civilization kind of conflict. Then those who have against those who do not have. We also look at countries that are developing against countries that are developed. When he wrote that book, those who are in the field of political science, historians, public affairs analysts, already knew that these things will happen. So books are roadmaps into the future. And we are talking of ISIS. Who actually fought ISIS? It was the Americans that took up the fight. In fact, ISIS blindsided the Americans initially. They came under Syrian because there was Arab Spring in Syria. Yeah. That was where ISIS came from. Entered part of Kuwait, entered mostly from Syria. They took part of Turkey. The Turks supported America at a point, but later, because of Islamic interests, the Turks decided to look at Syria. They are cronies. Russia, being America's celebrated rival, decided to support Syria. And it was in Syria, in their territory, that ISIS had a field day. Now, what ISIS did that was most painful that the world will not recover from is that they destroyed most UNESCO World Heritage sites because they said it was against their Islamic culture. People did not even know of that. Not even the killings of unarmed men, women, and children, not the forceful conversion That's why America went after them with all in their kitty. And the world did not even really support America. Of course, the Russians will always play towards the side of Syria. Syria is their ally. Then the Syrians were more sympathetic to the cause of the ISIS. And also, do not forget, something critical also happened that a lot of people were not aware of. The concept of foreign terrorist fighters happened. While ISIS was having a field day, we find a lot of disgruntled young men and women. I will use the word disgruntled, with all due respect to them. Europeans were very comfortable, took up arms, joined ISIS to fight against other European powers. So it was mostly the US, Britain, and France, and Germany that, no, Germany didn't go into conflict. That it was France, Britain mostly, that went all out to try and contain ISIS. Because they could see the danger that was coming. The ISIS was so fundamental that they were not ready to negotiate space. They wanted all or nothing argument. So they had their day. Americans were able to contain them, and with the support of the Kurds in Iraq, because most of the Kurds are not even, they are not Muslims, they are Christians anyway. And they went after the Kurds. So the Kurds also realized that it was extermination for them if they did not put up a fight. So the Kurds gave ground intelligence, the Americans gave air support, Americans brought in troops, and they were able to now eventually lock in ISIS and try to snuff them out. But it is not possible to snuff out an idea.
An idea. Oh,
because you are talking of conventional warfare. If it was nuclear, oh, we can say we can obliterate them. You cannot obliterate them now. Interestingly, I mentioned something. I said there was the concept of foreign terrorist fighters. A lot of young men and women from Europe went to fight on the side of ISIS, mostly from the Slavic countries, from Belgium too, from Netherlands. And many of them returned. They were, in fact, they were arrested and repatriated. They are still, some of them are serving jail term. There was, sorry, let me quickly make this point. Some of them were female. They got pregnant. They had children for some of these fundamentalists. The fight is just starting. It's not going to be something you snuff out. You see, the idea in a mass mind can only be known when it begins to act it out.
Act it out. All right.
So it's going to be a long haul.
Okay, now, Prof, do you see this attack that just took place in Russia, talking about the capital, slowing the pace in the war against Ukraine? Because it's like they have an internal problem right now. They're investigating. What if there are more inside Russia?
We cannot see whether there are more inside Russia. But what I see is that it will take the blood of Vladimir Putin to lose the war in Russia, in Ukraine. Because it will affect him politically. And what I hear is that if you lose the war, some people might attack him because he has spent so many resources in that war. So many people have died. And the war that was projected to start to end within 1 week, we are going to the third year now. So it is not going to be easy for him to. It's not going to be. He will not find it easy and want to lose the war, as case may be. Whether these people are, will be some of them might be around within Moscow, that I cannot say yet, but it's a probability. Because the plan might not be for only one target. There may be other targets that will be planned and still waiting to be executed. But what will happen now? I think Moscow will step up the security alert. Because there's a saying in Russia that if you defeat Moscow, Russia will hands up. Because they have everything in Moscow.
If it defeats Moscow, Russia will hands up.
Yes.
That's defeating the Kremlin right now.
Yeah, they hands up because that's the way that power is. And you see, when Buster was talking, he mentioned something that Russia tried to politicize. Yes, that's very correct because Russia was saying that the people that are fighting are the Europeans, and they started in 2004 when he annexed Crimea. So and. This is the issue. There's what you normally say. I will say in Russia, and I will interpret. You say, yeah, it's near glass now. It should be near to Soviet. That is, I did not agree that we don't have Soviet Union. You see what I mean? So that thing is in his head until he poured that thing off his head. That's why Ukraine attack, or as he said, all other former Soviet Union, even Ukraine, Poland and co, they are scared that who will be the next. That is why Americans, from the UK people, we only support Ukraine so that they can curtail Russia within that zone.
All right.
Otherwise, if you're seeing this, what next?
All right. Barrister, you heard him. The fight has just started according to John Felix. And of course, Prof said over his dead body, Putin will lose the war against Ukraine because it's going to affect him negatively politically. But there's a threat right now in Russia. We don't know the extent. For those four to carry out that attack successfully, so to speak, don't be apprehended after they successfully executed their plans. What do you think will be the next move of Putin as we round up?
Well, I am seeing a situation where Putin is going to increase more attack on Ukraine. He has politicized the massacre in Moscow rather than going after his intelligence chiefs for failure of intelligence. He's going to attack Ukraine more. My only fear is this. One of the missiles fired last week from Russia to Ukraine passed through the territory of Poland in a very small way. But all Allied forces, NATO forces in Poland were quickly put on alert. And 2 days ago, the French president was the idea of sending 20,000 French troops to Ukraine because Ukraine is now outmanned by the human number of fighters. Russia has more ammunition than Ukraine. The $60 billion that is held up in the Congress by Republicans in America is not helping Ukrainians. So the French president is thinking of sending 20,000 of their troops.
Emmanuel Macron.
And getting other countries of NATO to contribute so as to have about 60,000 soldiers there. This, I believe, will happen if Putin decides to do what he did last week when he bombarded Kyiv and Kiev in Ukraine for 2 days, the heaviest bombardment of Ukraine
far
since the beginning of the war 2 years ago.
But don't forget, Putin warned them. If you guys do that, you are calling for a third world war.
Yes, he warned. See, the point is this. Those who did the Moscow massacre, are they from Ukraine? Are they from Ukraine?
Yes,
If they were heading towards Ukraine, they were heading towards a place they thought would be safe.
For that.
Yeah.
All right.
So that is not a reason why Putin should turn and blame Ukraine for it. But if he does that, and he's threatening that there will be third world war, who is afraid of a third world war?
Barrister said what now? Who is afraid of the third world war?
Who is afraid of it?
Barrister, would you go and fight the third world war?
Who is going to Nigeria is already in a world war.
No, we're not in a world war. We're not in a world war, please. Because right now, well, before we call it terror, because I mean, it's like saying that the reason why he's building Ukraine is because of that distraction, like what you said, Prof. It's a distraction somehow because Russia as a state or an agency cannot just with its arm allow that thing to happen because of the way they gather intelligence. Maybe that much, but the reason why I say Ukraine, you guys are at fault here. And like what you said also, maybe rains, bombardment here and there against Ukraine because of this particular incident. Though they're saying that from Pakistan, not from Ukraine, You never can tell how the mind of Putin work. I know, and I believe strongly that we're going to visit this same topic some other time. We'll have enough time to really expatiate and talk more on this topic. Prof, thank you so much. Don, I appreciate the comment. Barrister, thank you so much for coming, gentlemen. Let's see how Putin is going to react. 4 of them apprehended in a specific given time. You can give them kudos for that. Within 24 hours, they were apprehended. Identified, everything done sequentially, and right now they're in court. And once they find out who are the main brains behind this, Russia, they will definitely go into strike. We'll see you again next week, Tuesday, God willing. Bye for now.